And the BAFTA goes to Paul Mescal.
Okay, I fully was not expecting to be here, so I have no clue what I'm going to say.
I just feel incredibly privileged to be sitting here talking about a show that I love a year on, and now I get to go see my family and go, look at this mad thing happened. So, yeah.
What's it been like finding fame on such a huge show in the vacuum of lockdown?
I suppose I've no idea what the opposite of that would look like. I feel like it's probably been, like, I have no complaints with it. I got to go to work after the kind of craziness of last summer. It's been like a weird year, and it kind of feels full circle having presented here last year, to be in a room with people, and not just people, like literally people at the forefront of television at the moment, and it was really quite special and quite emotional when they, when they show that clip at the start of the BAFTAs where it's like, this is what we've seen this year. It really makes me feel quite proud of what collectively as artists we're putting out into the world at the moment.
You sign up to do this because you have this obligation to yourself to kind of play characters that challenge you and put yourself. I don't speak on behalf of the people, but it's like I enjoy putting myself in a position of discomfort with characters because it allows me to interrogate it in a safe place for me, if that makes sense.
It's a role that it has now, like, not because of this, but over the last year, it's a role that totally changed my life and has given me an opportunity to continue doing the job that I love. It has introduced me to my best friend in Daisy and Lenny and people who I am obsessed with. So and Connell himself is somebody who has a huge pocket. I don't know what to say. He's hugely important to me.
And quickly, like, Connell is a man of simple pleasures. It's not like there are outlandish costumes or wigs to get you into character. So what was like the final part of the process of becoming Connell each time you were on set?
I talked to Sally about it. Sally Rooney, who wrote the book. When I first got the part, I was talking to her about her adaptation for television. And she was like, Connell was really hard to write in the first episode because in the book context, she was like, he doesn't say anything for the first he says a couple of words here and there. And then I was kind of thinking about that and I was like, okay, and this is kind of wanky actor talk, but I was like, okay, if he's not saying a lot, there's lots of references to him kind of making noises, like little, like,
Oh,
yeah. All of those things. When you start actually just doing them mechanically, I was like, I would kind of do that before we go, because it incites a kind of anxiety for a character like that. It's like they're tics and triggers because I feel like he walks around in a very like similar body to myself. So it's like finding that kind of back-footed kind of I think he's a great observer. So it was kind of like stepping back, retreating into him a little bit and kind of just little tricks like vocal tics and kind of internal rhythms and stuff.
The normal human in society and treats their joys and traumas and tribulations with utter respect. I think it struck a chord because it's seeing two people that people I feel can relate to and seeing how they navigate life, and it's quite a simple premise and trusts an audience to engage and be challenged by it, I think.
Cool. I want to come to you, and I think the best thing about normal people is just about how ordinary they are and yet extraordinary. Tell me about what really spoke to you about Connell the very first time you read the script.
Yeah, I think from the first couple of pages of I read the novel just as the audition came in, and it's kind of one of those pieces of source material that I became incredibly scared of straight away because it was very identifiable. And I think when something is identifiable, you kind of recognize yourself within it and go like, oh,
Yeah.
if I don't get this, then maybe this career isn't for me and things like that. But I think it's because I identify with him. I identify with the situations he's been in, and I also not like I see my friends in him. You know, I see people who I love and care about within the kind of capsule of him. So it was kind of no, it was totally I just recognized the kind of heart and soul of him very quickly. Yeah, I think we worked with the wonderful director Lenny Abrahamson on the first block, and we didn't do a huge amount of say like standard rehearsal. Like we kind of spent about a week together prior to it and talked about the character and would very tentatively touch on scenes and then very quickly run away from it.
Right.
But yeah, I think it was more so a kind of chance for me and Daisy to meet, see each other. But we had done a chemistry read before it, so I think there was a kind of understanding that we would work together well, and I could not have asked for a better partner for that show. So it's kind of like the standard in which I just associate is normal now, which I think is actually really healthy, and because I just can't imagine that process without a very clear professional voice who is totally focused on that one, like that one part of the show, and it kind of allows everyone else more freedom. It allows me and Daisy to have a direct line to her and Lenny, and I think it just opens up more capacity for conversation. I think there's probably a stereotype that like intimacy coordinators is like, oh, it's not fucking real or fresh or anything like that, and that's actually not what you're chasing in those situations, or definitely like you're actually looking for to begin those scenes from a place of comfort and be as confident as you can be within that. And I think Ita was just so wonderful and intuitive with how me and Daisy like to work. So I just I hope, and I think we are seeing it becoming a more steadfast position on sets now, and I think it's vital, to be honest. I played Connell for two and a half months at this point, so it was very I gotten comfortable with actually being on a set and being comfortable in taking space and not kind of kind of apologizing for your presence all the time, which I find is a really difficult thing to do personally. And I don't know, that was kind of the adjustment period. And once I kind of had that kind of scary feeling of feeling like I was comfortable with him now, Hetty kind of came in on, and that was totally due to the kind of connection that I had with Lenny and Daisy, and it felt very kind of intimate in approach, that like notes would be given carefully and quietly and intimately. It wasn't for everybody, it was for me or Daisy or Colette. So I felt confident and safe in that, and Hetty really took the mantle as well. And
I want to dedicate this to Daisy, who is the best scene partner and one of the best people I know.
I feel like that's the draw on me to say I want to do Normal People Season 2. I would love to do Normal People Season 2. I would work with Daisy again in a heartbeat. And I'm just, regardless of work or anything like that, I'm just really excited to see her so we can see each other again. It'd be great.